I still remember the feeling of walking into my classroom, surrounded by kids who seemed to have it all. I was the poor kid in school, the one who wore hand-me-down clothes and brought leftovers for lunch. My hometown was a small, run-down place where everyone knew each other's struggles. The streets were lined with old, worn-out houses, and the local park was where we spent most of our free time. As a child, I didn't know any different, but as I grew older, I began to realize that my life was not like my classmates. They would talk about their summer vacations, their new bikes, and their fancy birthdays, while I could only dream of such things. Growing up in poverty was tough. There were times when we had to choose between paying the electricity bill or buying food. My parents worked multiple jobs just to make ends meet, but it was never enough. I remember nights when we would sit in the dark, using flashlights to do our homework because we couldn't afford to pay the electricity bill. Despite all this, my parents always emphasized the importance of education. They would tell me that it was the key to a better life, that it was the only way to break the cycle of poverty. I didn't understand it back then, but as I grew older, I began to realize the truth in their words. Education became my escape, my sanctuary. I would spend hours in the library, reading books and studying. I found solace in the words of authors who had overcome their own struggles, and I began to dream of a life beyond my small town. My teachers saw something in me that I didn't, a spark of potential that they nurtured and encouraged. They gave me extra help, extra attention, and extra push to keep going. And I kept pushing, even when it seemed like the whole world was against me. I knew that I had to make a better life for myself, not just for my own sake, but for my parents' sake as well. They had sacrificed so much for me, and I was determined to make them proud. As I look back, I realized that those difficult years, those struggles, they made me who I am today. They taught me the value of perseverance, of hard work, and of never giving up. And now, as I stand here ready to begin my journey from poverty to success, I know that I owe it all to my humble beginnings. The fire that burned inside me, the fire that drove me to succeed, it was lit in those dark moments, in those struggle-filled days. And now, it's time to see where that fire takes me. I remember walking into school every day, feeling like an outcast, like I didn't belong. My clothes were hand-me-downs, my backpack was torn, and my lunch was often a stale sandwich or a can of soup. I felt like everyone was staring at me like they could see right through me. The other kids would talk about their fancy vacations, their new gadgets, and their expensive clothes. I felt like I was living in a different world. I struggled to make ends meet, to find ways to get by. My parents worked multiple jobs just to put food on the table, but it was never enough. I had to get creative, to find ways to make my own money, whether it was walking dogs, mowing lawns, or babysitting. But no matter how hard I worked, I always felt like I was falling behind. I felt like I was drowning in a sea of poverty, with no lifeline in sight. My situation affected my self-esteem, my relationships, everything. I felt like I wasn't good enough, like I was somehow less than the other kids. I started to doubt myself, to wonder if I was worthy of love, of friendship, of success. I felt like I was walking around with a big L on my forehead, like everyone could see my weaknesses, my flaws. I started to withdraw, to pull away from the people around me. I felt like I was all alone, like I had no one to turn to. But then, something changed. I met a teacher, Mrs. Johnson, who saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. She saw potential, she saw talent, she saw a spark of hope. She took me under her wing, she mentored me, she guided me. She introduced me to books, to music, to art. She showed me that there was a world beyond my small town, a world full of possibilities, full of promise. She was my rock, my safe haven, my support system. And then there were other teachers, other mentors who joined Mrs. Johnson's crusade. They saw the potential in me, they saw the spark of hope. They encouraged me, they motivated me, they pushed me to be my best self. They helped me to see that I wasn't alone, that I had a community, a family that cared about me. They helped me to build my resilience, to develop my support system. For the first time in my life, I felt like I had a chance, like I had a shot at success. I started to believe in myself, to see that I was worthy of love, of friendship, of success. I started to dream big, to aim high, to strive for greatness. And it was all because of the support of my teachers, my mentors, my friends. They helped me to see that the struggle was real, but it wasn't impossible. They helped me to see that I could overcome, that I could rise above. And that's when everything started to change, when my path to overcoming my difficulties started to become clearer. I still remember the day that changed everything for me. I was sitting in my small, rundown apartment, staring at the bare walls and feeling like I was stuck in a never-ending cycle of poverty. My parents were working multiple jobs just to make ends meet, and I was doing my best to help out. But it seemed like no matter how hard we tried, we were always just one step behind. As I sat there, I began to think about my life and the things that I wanted to achieve. I thought about my time in school and how I was always the poor kid, the one who couldn't afford the latest clothes or gadgets. But I also thought about the things that I was good at, the things that I enjoyed, and the things that I wanted to pursue. And that's when it hit me: education was the key to escaping poverty. It was the one thing that could give me the opportunities that I so desperately wanted. I started to feel a sense of motivation that I had never felt before. I realized that I had the power to change my circumstances, to create a better life for myself. And so I started to set goals, to make plans for my future. I decided that I was going to work hard, to study and learn as much as I could, and to pursue my dreams with every ounce of energy that I had. It wasn't easy, of course. There were still times when I felt like giving up, when it seemed like the odds were stacked against me. But I kept pushing forward, driven by my desire to succeed. And slowly but surely, I started to make progress. I started to see the results of my hard work, and it fueled my motivation even more. I was determined to make a better life for myself, and I was willing to do whatever it took to get there. As I look back, I realized that this was the turning point for me. This was the moment when I decided to take control of my life, to stop letting my circumstances define me. And it's a decision that has shaped me into the person I am today. I'm proud to say that I've been able to achieve many of my goals, and I'm excited to see what the future holds. But for now, I'm just taking it one step at a time, enjoying the journey and staying focused on what's ahead. As I look back on my journey, I realize that the turning point was just the beginning of a long and arduous path to success. It was a time of intense hard work and perseverance, where every waking moment was dedicated to achieving my goals. I would often spend hours upon hours studying, working, and honing my skills, determined to make a better life for myself. I remember the first time I landed a decent job. It was a huge stepping stone for me. I was working as an intern at a small company, and although the pay was minimal, it was a foot in the door. I worked tirelessly, taking on extra tasks and responsibilities, and soon I was offered a full-time position. It was a moment of pure elation, and I felt an overwhelming sense of pride and accomplishment. As I progressed in my career, I began to meet new people who would become instrumental in my journey. There was Sarah, my colleague, who became a close friend and confidant. She was a few years older than me, and her guidance and mentorship were invaluable. Then there was Jack, my boss, who saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. He gave me opportunities to grow and develop, and I will be forever grateful to him. I also had the opportunity to travel to new places, experiencing different cultures and ways of life. I visited New York, London, and Tokyo, and each city left an indelible mark on me. I was fascinated by the diversity and complexity of these metropolises, and I felt like a small fish in a big pond. But I was determined to make a splash, to leave my mark on the world. Of course, the journey was not without its obstacles. There were times when I felt like giving up, when the obstacles seemed insurmountable. I faced rejection and failure, and there were moments when I doubted my abilities. But I persevered, using each setback as an opportunity to learn and grow. And then, the first tastes of success began to appear. I landed a major client, and my company's revenue soared. I was promoted to a senior position, and my salary increased exponentially. I was living a life I never thought possible, and it felt surreal. But with success comes responsibility, and I began to realize that I had a duty to give back. I started volunteering at local charities, and I became involved in initiatives that supported underprivileged children. It was a fulfilling experience, and it gave me a sense of purpose. As I look back on my journey, I am reminded that success is not just about achieving our goals, but about the people we meet and the lessons we learn along the way. It's about perseverance, hard work, and determination. And it's about giving back, using our success to make a positive impact on the world. My journey is far from over, but I am excited to see what the future holds. As I sat in my office, surrounded by the trappings of success, I couldn't help but think about the journey that had brought me here. From being the poor kid in school, relying on scholarships and hand-me-downs to get by, to becoming a thriving entrepreneur, I had come a long way. But with each step up the ladder, I felt an increasing sense of responsibility to give back. I remembered the struggles, the feelings of inadequacy and the uncertainty that had once plagued me. I knew I wasn't alone in those experiences, and that realization ignited a fire within me to help others who were walking in the same shoes I once wore. I began to explore different ways of giving back, reading about philanthropists who had made significant contributions to their communities. I was particularly drawn to stories of individuals who, like me, had risen from humble beginnings to achieve greatness, only to return and uplift those who were still struggling. Their selflessness and generosity inspired me, and I started to consider how I could make a meaningful impact. Philanthropy, I discovered, wasn't just about donating money. It was about creating opportunities, fostering change, and leaving a lasting legacy. As I delved deeper into the world of philanthropy, I found myself pondering the most effective way to make a difference. I thought about donating to various charities, volunteering my time, and even starting my own foundation. But one idea kept resonating with me: giving back to my old school. It was there that my journey had begun, where I had faced some of my toughest challenges and learned some of my most valuable lessons. The thought of being able to provide opportunities for current students, to help them avoid some of the struggles I had faced, was profoundly appealing. The decision didn't come easily, though. I spent countless nights weighing the pros and cons, considering how my donation could be most effective. I thought about the state of the school, the needs of the students, and how my contribution could address those needs. I spoke with educators, administrators, and other alumni, gathering insights and advice. And then, it hit me, a clear vision of what I wanted to achieve. I would donate $1 million to my alma mater, a sum that would make a tangible difference in the lives of its students. The decision felt right, like the culmination of all my efforts and the beginning of a new chapter in my journey of giving back. With my mind made up, I began preparing for the donation, envisioning the impact it would have. I pictured the updated facilities, the new programs, and the scholarships that would bear my name. Most of all, I saw the faces of the students, their eyes filled with hope and promise, as they embarked on their own paths to success. The thought sent a surge of excitement through me, and I knew that this was just the beginning of my philanthropic journey. I was ready to take the first step, to make a difference, and to inspire others to do the same. I still remember the day I decided to donate $1 million to my old school. It was a moment of pure conviction, a feeling that I had to give back to the place where my journey began. As I walked through the familiar halls, I couldn't help but notice the worn-out paint, the outdated equipment, and the tired faces of the teachers. It was a stark contrast to the affluent neighborhoods I had grown accustomed to, but it was a reminder of where I came from. I met with the school administrators, and they were shocked when I told them about my decision. They had never received a donation of this magnitude before, and they didn't know how to react. The principal, a kind-hearted woman with a warm smile, asked me why I wanted to donate such a large sum. I told her about my story, about being the poor kid in school, about struggling to make ends meet, and about how I wanted to make a difference in the lives of the current students. The administrators were overwhelmed with emotion, and they thanked me profusely. They told me that the donation would be used to upgrade the school's infrastructure, to provide new equipment and technology, and to establish a scholarship fund for underprivileged students. I was thrilled to hear that my money would be used to make a tangible impact on the school and its community. As news of the donation spread, the reactions from the students and the community were incredible. The students were ecstatic, and they couldn't believe that someone who had walked in their shoes was now giving back in such a big way. The community was grateful, and they saw my donation as a testament to the power of generosity and the impact one person can have. The donation had a profound effect on the school and its students. The new equipment and technology helped to improve the quality of education, and the scholarship fund provided opportunities for students who otherwise wouldn't have been able to afford to pursue their dreams. The school's atmosphere changed, and there was a newfound sense of hope and excitement. The students felt seen and heard, and they knew that they had someone who believed in them. As I looked out at the sea of faces, I felt a sense of pride and fulfillment. I knew that my donation was more than just a gift. It was a symbol of what could be achieved through hard work and determination. I hoped that my story would inspire the students to chase their dreams, to never give up, and to always remember where they came from. And as I walked away from the school, I couldn't help but wonder what the future held for these young minds, and how my donation would continue to impact their lives in the years to come. As I sit here, surrounded by the familiar walls of my old school, I am overwhelmed with a sense of nostalgia and wonder. It's hard to believe that the poor kid who once walked these halls, struggling to make ends meet, has just donated $1 million to this very institution. It's a moment that feels surreal, like a dream that I never want to wake up from. My mind begins to wander, reflecting on the journey that has brought me to this moment. I think about the countless nights I spent studying by the light of a flickering candle, the endless hours I worked to make ends meet, and the countless sacrifices my family made to give me a better life. I think about the struggles, the setbacks, and the moments of sheer desperation. But most of all, I think about the people who helped me along the way, the ones who saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. As I look back, I am struck by the realization that my life has come full circle. The kid who once felt like an outsider, like a stranger in a strange land, has finally found a sense of belonging. I think about the lessons I've learned, about the importance of perseverance, hard work, and determination. I think about the power of gratitude, about the need to appreciate the little things in life, and to never forget where I came from. I am grateful for the support I received, for the teachers who believed in me, for the friends who stood by me, and for the family that sacrificed everything for me. I am grateful for the struggles, too, because they taught me to be strong, to be resilient, and to never give up on my dreams. And I am grateful for this moment, for the opportunity to give back, to make a difference, and to leave a lasting legacy. As I reflect on my journey, I am reminded that life is a journey, not a destination. It's a journey of ups and downs, of twists and turns, of triumphs and setbacks. But it's a journey that is worth taking, because it's in the journey that we discover who we are, what we're capable of, and what we're made of. And it's in the journey that we find meaning, purpose, and fulfillment. I look around the school at the faces of the children, at the teachers, and at the staff. I see myself in them. I see the struggles, the challenges, and the hopes. And I know that I want to do more, to give more, and to make a difference in their lives. I want to be a source of inspiration, of motivation, and of hope. I want to show them that no matter where they come from, no matter what their circumstances are, they too can achieve greatness. The question is, what's next? How can I continue to make a positive impact? How can I use my story, my experiences, and my resources to make a difference in the world? These are the questions that I will be pondering in the days and weeks to come, as I look to the future and consider the next chapter in my journey. As I sit here, reflecting on the journey that has brought me to this point, I am filled with a sense of pride and accomplishment. Donating $1 million to my old school was a dream come true, and it's a feeling that's hard to put into words. But as I look to the future, I know that this is just the beginning. I've caught the philanthropy bug, and I'm eager to see where it takes me. I've been thinking a lot about my next move, and I've been exploring different options for future philanthropic efforts. I've been researching various causes and organizations, trying to find the ones that resonate with me the most. I've also been reaching out to other potential philanthropists and partners, hoping to collaborate and make an even bigger impact. I believe that by working together, we can achieve so much more than we could alone. One of the things that's been on my mind a lot lately is the importance of inspiring others to give back. I know that I'm not alone in my desire to make a difference, and I want to use my story to encourage others to take action. I believe that everyone has the potential to be a philanthropist, regardless of their background or financial situation. It's all about finding what you're passionate about and using your resources to make a positive impact. As I look to the future, I'm also thinking about the potential for a lasting legacy. I want my donations to be more than just a one-time gesture. I want them to have a lasting impact that continues to inspire and support others long after I'm gone. I've been considering setting up a foundation or starting a scholarship program, something that will allow me to continue giving back even after I'm no longer able to do so personally. I've been traveling to new locations, exploring different parts of the world and learning about the unique challenges and opportunities that each place faces. I've been to urban cities and rural towns, meeting with community leaders and learning about their struggles and triumphs. And through it all, I've been struck by the incredible resilience and generosity of the human spirit. Everywhere I go, I meet people who are dedicated to making a difference, who are passionate about creating positive change in their communities. As I look to the future, I know that I'll be continuing on this journey, using my resources to support and inspire others. I hope that my story will serve as a catalyst for others to take action, to find their own way to make a difference in the world. And I know that together we can create a brighter, more compassionate future for everyone. The possibilities are endless, and I'm excited to see what's in store. As I looked out at the crowd of students, teachers, and faculty gathered at my old school, I couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and fulfillment. My donation of $1 million had sent shockwaves through the community, and I had been invited to share my story with the very people who had once known me as the poor kid in school. As I began to speak, I could see the curiosity in their eyes, the wonder at how someone who had once struggled so much could now give back in such a significant way. I told them about my journey, about the struggles I had faced, and the people who had helped me along the way. I told them about the late nights spent studying, the early mornings spent working, and the endless hours spent doubting myself. But I also told them about the moments of triumph, the times when I had finally achieved my goals and felt like I was on top of the world. As I spoke, I could see the inspiration in their eyes, the spark of hope that they too could overcome their own challenges and achieve greatness. One student in particular caught my attention, a young girl who looked like she had been through a lot. She reminded me of myself when I was her age, struggling to make ends meet and wondering if I would ever escape the cycle of poverty. After my speech, she came up to me and told me that my story had inspired her to keep going, to pursue her own dreams and never give up. She told me that she had been feeling lost and alone, but hearing my story had given her the courage to keep pushing forward. As I listened to her words, I felt a sense of pride and purpose. I realized that my donation was not just about giving back to my old school, but about inspiring others to do the same. It was about creating a ripple effect of kindness and generosity, a wave of compassion and empathy that would spread far and wide. I thought about all the people who had helped me along the way, the teachers who had believed in me, the mentors who had guided me, and the friends who had supported me. I thought about how their kindness and generosity had changed my life, and how I was now paying it forward. The importance of community and support was highlighted as I looked out at the crowd. I saw people from all walks of life, from different backgrounds and socioeconomic statuses. But despite our differences, we were all connected by a shared sense of purpose and belonging. We were all part of a community that cared about each other, that supported each other, and that lifted each other up. As I concluded my speech, I felt a sense of gratitude and appreciation for this community, for the people who had helped me and inspired me to give back. And as I walked off the stage, I knew that my story was far from over. I knew that there were still many chapters to be written, many more people to inspire, and many more lives to change. But for now, I was content in the knowledge that I had made a difference, that I had inspired others to pursue their dreams and never give up. The power of giving back was a truly remarkable thing, and I felt grateful to be a part of it. As I stood in the same hallways where I once felt like an outcast, a poor kid who couldn't afford the things my peers took for granted, I couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and accomplishment. My journey, from being the kid who wore hand-me-downs and struggled to make ends meet, to becoming a successful individual who could donate $1 million to my alma mater, was nothing short of extraordinary. I thought back to all the times I felt like giving up, when the struggles seemed too much to bear, and when the fear of not being enough crept in. But I persevered, fueled by my determination to make a better life for myself. And it was this perseverance, this refusal to let my circumstances define me, that ultimately led me to where I am today. As I look back on my story, I am reminded of the importance of education. It was my ticket out of poverty, my chance to learn, to grow, and to explore the world beyond my small town. It was the foundation upon which I built my future, and it is the reason why I am so passionate about giving back. My donation of $1 million to my old school is more than just a gesture of goodwill. It is a testament to the power of giving back. It is a reminder that we all have the ability to make a difference in the lives of others, to leave a lasting legacy that transcends our own lifetimes. I hope that my story will inspire others to pursue their dreams, no matter how impossible they may seem. I hope that it will remind them of the importance of perseverance, of hard work, and of the impact that one person can have on the world. As I walked out of those school gates for the last time, I felt a sense of satisfaction, knowing that I had left a piece of myself behind. My donation will help to fund scholarships, to improve facilities, and to provide opportunities for students who may be struggling, just as I once did. It is my legacy, a reminder of the power of giving back, and a testament to the impact that one person can have on the world. And as I move on to the next chapter of my life, I do so with the knowledge that I have made a difference, that I have left the world a better place than when I entered it. In the end, it is not the amount of money that we have or the things that we own that truly matter. It is the impact that we have on the lives of others, the difference that we make, and the legacy that we leave behind. And it is this legacy, this commitment to giving back, that I hope will continue to inspire others long after I am gone.